Hi and welcome to Highline. Today we'll see how to install our single color LED strip controller, which is a wireless controller and a remote control. This is a single zone system and the remote can be paired to one or more wireless controllers. The controller has a 4-channel output, but all of them will work simultaneously. We'll see now how to connect this. We power here on the left side of the controller where it writes input 12 to 36 volts DC. So I just use a variable power supply workshop 1 to power 24 volts DC input to the two terminals plus and minus. That's the input side. And I'm using here 24 volts output LED strips. I'm using channel 1 and channel 4 in this case. I can use just one channel if I need to, or I can connect all 4 channels, but as I explained before, all 4 channels, they will work simultaneously. Let's power on the 24 volts input. So when we just power on, this controller default settings is to turn on the load 100%. So I see now that I have a light output which is 24 volts in both channels. Now, in order to pair this remote with the controller, I need first to open the battery compartment and remove the protective sleeve of the battery. So now I'm ready to pair the system. I have to click the learning key just once and then do this, and now the wireless controller is paired with this remote control. So I can select full power or minimum power from here. So I can go to any individual step that I need. So full power, less, and I can control the light output to almost 0. If I need to power off completely the LED strips, I can just power off from the button here. So power on, power off. The last setting will be recalled when I power on and off. As an example, if I go to this setting here and I power off, when I power on, it will restore to the previous setting. If I had it in the full power, I power off, and when I power on, it will be restored to the previous setting. In the same way, I can pair the same remote control with a second wireless controller, actually with as many wireless controllers as my installation will demand. Even 100, 200, 300 controllers, they can sync between them with the same remote control. The same wireless controller now, let me power off this, has a second option, which is a push switch. So if I need to, I can connect a conventional press switch, which would be mounted in the wall of any room, and I just need 2 contacts for the press switch. It's a dry contact, no voltage applied, it's just a dry contact, and I'll connect them here and show you how to use the wireless controller using the press switch. So I can have this remote control, but also I can run the system with just the press switch. We'll see now how to do that. I have now connected the press switch with the 2 terminals that can be found on the left side of the wireless controller, the single channel one. So let's see where the connection is. So here is my connection for the 2 terminals that will be wired on the press switch. It's a dry conduct, no voltage applied, it's just two terminals, dry conduct directly from any press switch to the controller. Now let's run the system to see. When I have the press switch connected, I can still use the remote control to power on my LED strips or control the brightness at any level I need to. Power off from the remote control. But at the same time, I can power on using the press switch. Single press will power on, single press will power off. So let's check this. Press, power on. Press again, power off. Using the press switch, I can also control the brightness of the strips. In this way, I power on the LED strips. That's the full brightness. So if I keep the switch pressed, I adjust the brightness to the minimum for this example. So now it's a minimum here. I release the switch. The setting will be stored in memory. So if I press another one time, I power off. I press another one time, I power on. It will restore the previous setting. So let's say now we need a 50% roughly brightness. So I will keep the switch until the brightness will be to the desired level. Let's say I need it here. Now it's already stored. So power off, power on, we restore to the previous setting level. Now if I use the remote control, I can still power off the system and power on again. It will still recall the previous setting. So power off from here, power on from the press switch is still the same. I would like to mention that you possibly noticed during brightness adjustments. As an example, if I adjust the brightness up or down, the flickering that is captured from the camera, and you can see that on this video. This frequency is captured by the camera. With bare eyes, you don't notice. It's not noticeable. You cannot see any flickering. The adjustment of the brightness control is smooth and no flickering exists in reality. The camera, due to the way that this controller adjusts the brightness, which is using pulse width modulation, PWM as we call it, it can capture the frequency. So you notice on this video a flickering. This will not exist in the real installation.